Morning. It's Saturday, August 21st. And on Sunday, tomorrow, we're going to have a hurricane. And they're saying batten down the hatches on Long Island. We're going to have a storm surge. But that's not the worst thing that's going on. The worst thing that's going on is the unfortunate situation in Afghanistan. And Biden has to consider himself the unluckiest man in the world because he won this election. But he asked for it and he got it, and he's getting a lot more than he bargained for. And it's clear when we look at the situation in Afghanistan that we were not prepared to leave. Even though we pushed the date off to August 31st, we were not prepared to leave. And a lot of that lack of preparation was because we underestimated the intelligence reports that were received. One of our biggest problems is the paperwork, a paperwork nightmare that we have created to handle the influx of Afghans who are running to flee Afghanistan as the Taliban rakes through the country looking for people who have been helping the U.S. and any other person who they view as an insurgent. So if I'm looking at this thing as a businessman and I have a plan to leave the country or to do something different, I have to take into consideration everything. And if I want to protect the people who are helping us out, maybe they should have been sent home before the troops even got ready to leave. Why didn't we just totally stop all operations to get these people out? We have a visa process that is going to take time. And we don't know how we're going to process all these people who are fleeing the country. I'm not prepared to blame Biden for everything like some of the opposition media is doing, but he must accept an awful lot of the blame. And that blame should be passed down through his entire team. Were they asleep at the switch? But then again, we've done this before, and we haven't learned from history. We haven't learned anything. So if you make a mistake once, that's okay. But if you continue making the same mistake over and over and over again, then you deserve whatever the opposition is throwing at you. And this is not going to be an easy presidency for Biden. The honeymoon for him is over. And he and what I thought was a crackerjack team better get their act together. Because there are going to be repercussions with the end of the Afghanistan movement anyhow. The troops are going to be stuck there for far beyond August 31st. Take a look at the process for handling visas. The volume increased significantly from March to early August, according to the State Department. But despite months of internal discussions over the process, there was a lack of decision-making on how to best handle and expedite visas. That's what one of the officials said. And now it's a scramble. Let me tell you something. With hundreds of thousands of people out of work, and we're in this nightmare to handle visas, you would think we could figure out a way to get temporary help and expert temporary help to handle this visa process. I don't know what's involved in the process. It's probably a paperwork nightmare because that's how government does things. Look how simple it was to get a vaccination. We got a vaccination, we got a little card, and that was good enough. So how come this visa thing is such a nightmare? Why can't you have a person come into the office, request a visa, give them a visa on the spot, a temporary visa, and maybe the person has to do something to maintain it or whatever. I don't know how the process really works. I've never applied for a visa. But it seems to me that it's a great failing in a situation where there would be an emergency. And anybody that did not recognize that this was going to be a crisis situation and an emergency and comes to the table unprepared to handle it shouldn't be working at that job. In fact, I don't know how many of these people should be fired after this disaster is over. But then again, we probably have a system that protects those people. And so as far as I can tell, according to the reporting, there were systematic issues that had to be resolved when this crisis came upon us. So here we are planning to leave and go back to Donald Trump. Go back to February of 2020. We're planning to leave then, and we didn't prepare. In a year and a half, we didn't prepare a system to process these people. Here's something that's even more mind-boggling. We prepared an act in 2009 called the Afghan Allies Protection Act that was supposed to set up the system to allow these people to get into the country. In this report, there are many obstacles that were found. And these obstacles exist in great part because the senior coordinating official position, which is intended to oversee and direct the Afghan visa program, right, has been vacant since 2017. So we have chaos, and Biden has taken the heat. But I want you to remember who was president in 2017 and who neglected to get this important position filled if we were eventually going to leave. So Biden is very unlucky. He's taken the heat for a lot of shit that was piled up before he ever got into office. But that doesn't mean I'm excusing him, because the minute he saw that shit, he should have taken action on it. The minute that we decided that we're going to get out, that he's going to fulfill this promise, he had to make sure that all our ducks are in a row. And maybe that's impossible. Maybe that task was impossible because it was just too big. Too many things going on at the same time, with the pandemic and the local non-vaxxers and all of that stuff. So maybe this thing really couldn't be solved. And maybe we couldn't leave. Maybe we should have said, screw it, we can't leave until we get these people protected. So I'm ready to leave you with these thoughts, because when you dig into these, it's not all Joe's fault. A lot of it is his fault. A lot of it is his team's fault. But this thing comes with a lot of history. It's a 20-year buildup of a terrible situation, and we can't expect to solve it in 6 months. So I really didn't want to rant about this thing today with the hurricane coming tomorrow, but there it is. And I probably haven't given you all the salient facts that are associated with this mess. But it's a mess, and it probably won't be fixed when the troops are gone and all these people are safely here if they're lucky. So that's all I have to say this morning. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.